What we do is that we will carry out our sensitization and then followed by our enterprise. And today we are going to discuss about the complementary food or winning food. So when we talk about the complementary food, is the food that we give to the infant after excluding them from breastfeeding. So we believe we can only get it from the big shops around us. But the poverty fighter squad is telling you now that yes, with those resources, those things will be training ourselves. You can have something out of it to produce this feed yourself. That is why we said, okay, for the benefit of our members, so we can share ideas on how we can produce our own feed using the resources close to us with a cheaper amount of money. So we talk of the term complementary food is more appropriate for those type of food that are given to the infants. After a period of exclusive breastfeeding, there are those food used in conjunction with breastfeeding as well. Sometimes you see the mother is not producing enough milk to sustain the baby. Then you think of what? The complementary feed in order to balance what the child requires to grow up. So they can also be called weaning food. That is to indicate a transition from breastfeeding to other food. So that is after you've fed the baby for almost about 6 months, it is expected that you are going to withdraw the child from the what? From the breast milk. So therefore, you cannot just introduce a baby to the kind of food you and adult person is consuming immediately. Rather, you think of food that at least it will meet the requirement, something similar to that milk that just exclude him from or have from. So that is why we say that it's a very good thing so that we can share ideas on how we can produce it. So as we always said, we don't speak much grammar here, and then we want to just go straight to the point so that we can get the information and then we can practice it on our own wherever we find those materials. So we use food. The most food that we use for the complementary feed are those ones that are somehow they are free. They must be what? Free from fibers. They must be well strained. And then must be produced from refined cooked food. Also, be produced from our own local feed ingredients. Initially, we said we are going to produce this feed based on what we find around us locally. We don't source it from anywhere. Rather, we source it around us. From the agri products, we talk of cow beans, the soya beans, the rice, and the sesame, all of them. So these are what we are going to use to produce this feed to meet our daily requirement. So from there we said processing of 5 complementary feed. So we are going to limit ourselves to just 5 of them, how we can produce those 5 of these feed. And then we categorize them based on the materials we found around us. First we said millet granite blend. The millet granite blend, none of us will tell me now that we don't know what is granite. Neither can we tell us that we don't know what is millet. Right? So we know what is millet. The second one is going to be millet cowpea blend. The millet, you see the same millet you use for the first combination. Why the second one is going to be a cowpea? Initial one was what? We use granite. We use the second one is going to be what? Cowpea. We all know cowpea, which we call it beans. Why the third one is going to be millet soybeans blend. Millet soybeans blend. That is, you are still combining 2 things, the millet and the soybeans blend. Third, we are going to use sorghum soybeans blend. We are going to use what? Sorghum and the soybeans. Why the third one is the one we are going to combine about 3 materials to produce them, which is what? Rice, soybeans, sesame seed blend. We have the rice, the soybean, and the sesame seed, which we call it as what? Benzene or reed.
Then the sesame
Yes, sesame is the reedy or the venison. So that is the one we are going to use today. Just 5 of them. And if we're able to do this 5 and then put it to practice, you will know that you've achieved something. Next is the formulation itself. So when we talk about the formulation, how do you combine them? We said that the formulation can be based on simple equal ratio of either 50-50, that is 1:1. That is, if you take 1 module of what? Of millet, you take 1 module of groundnut, you are good to go. Right? That is the 50-50. The only place we have a change of ratio is the last one, which is rice, soybeans, and the sesame. So that is to say, when we are going to combine the 3 now, there's a variation in the ratio, which is going to be 2:1:1. 2:1:1. That is, the rice is going to be 2. It will take the ratio of 2, while the sesame will take 1, while which one is the third one? The soybeans will take the 1 ratio. So that is to say, when you are going to combine them, now that is, if you are taking 1 module of sesame, you are taking 1 module of soybean, but you are taking 2 module of what? Rice. So at the start, if you want to start, maybe you use a milk cup. You carry 1 milk cup and then 2 milk cup of rice, 1 milk cup of soybean, and then 1 milk cup of sesame. Then you try it and see what we are talking about. So these are the ratio. And then the formulated food are made into bread before feeding them to the infant. Because you are going to make it something light, not that too thick, the way you take your own bath. Because what are you trying to do? If you look at the breast milk, it's not that thick. And then you are trying to introduce new feed to the child. So if you are doing that, you need to create something similar to what he has been consuming. So not to cause constipation in the baby's stomach. So you need to make it somehow very light. That is a growth we're talking about. You make it somehow light. Then when the baby is going gradually, before it gets used to any solid food. So the growths are not supposed to be too thick. The growth can be obtained in the ratio of 1:4. That is to say, the ratio, the water to the viscosity of this one should be 1:4. So that is why you are going to dilute it. You know, naturally, we don't use anything to measure it, but when you look at it, you dilute it to make it somehow lighter, then that is what we give to our new babies. The flow chart for processing the feed ingredients. That's why I said, because some of us we are eager to go and watch what is going to happen to Nigeria and Ghana. I believe Nigeria will always win them anyway. Have you? Okay. So today the flow chart process of the feed ingredients. So this is the millet. The problem we have is that the facilities, the equipment we use in processing all these things, that is the only difference we have. That is why we always prefer canned food to what we use our own hands to produce, because the packaging, that is just the difference. Okay, now if you can have your millet, the next step is going to you clean it by what? Removing the debris. You know there are dirt inside the millet, definitely. So when you do that, you remove the next thing you soak it in the tap water for about 10 minutes. Okay. After you remove it from there, then you kind of pound it in a mortar or look at anything that you can make sure when you are washing it to remove those green color from the back of the millet. After removing those green stuff in the cover, then you remove the water again. You sun dry it. After sun drying, you mill, take it to any engine around you, you mill it. Then where we have the problem now is the sieving. You understand? We don't have the standard sieving to do that. For those that are producing akamu, those kind of sieve they are using to filter the akamu, you can use it to sieve this one to feed your baby. Likewise, those ones are doing okpa as well. The kind of sieve they use to sieve the bambara granite, so they use it to sieve the same millet. So then, after you remove the shaft, you have your millet flour. But before you grind it, we always advise you should weigh the quantity you are going to use before grinding it, because the grinded form is not equivalent to that of normal grain. There's going to be kind of variation in terms of their quantity. Because if you measure 1 mudu of grain and then if you grind it, sometimes it may be times 2 of the quantity. You understand? So it's better you measure it before grinding it. So then you get your millet flour ready. Okay, we'll come to the cowpea. The cowpea, some of us, we don't believe that they can use it to produce all those kind of things. But how did they do it? We said when you have the cowpea, you sort it. Look for the good ones and then separate them from the bad ones. From there you weigh. That is to say, you measure it out first before you separate. You separate it, then you measure. You understand? Because when you measure both the bad and the good ones, at the end of it, when you remove the bad one from the good one, therefore, you are not going to have the same weight again. So therefore, it's better you sort it before you weigh it out. So then you soak into 1:3 ratio of water and the beans. Then at the end of it, you allow it to stay for like 20 minutes. When you stay for like 20 minutes, and then you do the hulling. For those of us that do bakery. I mean, so we know how to wash those beans to remove those back. So yes, you dehull it. When you dehull it, then you sun dry. You pre-cook, you pre-cook for like 30 minutes. You cook this one, you are using it for this feed, for this infant feed. You need to pre-cook it for like 30 minutes. Then you sun dry for like 48 hours. That is to say, if it's under 2 hours, you have something that can give you that dry, good dryness. Fine, you can do it. But we are assuming under 48 hours, we should be able to have enough sun that will dry this into the required level. So then you roast it with mild roasting for like 15 minutes. Are we communicating? Okay. You roast it mildly for like 15 minutes, then you take it to engine for milling. After you mill it, then you sieve. Like the initial one, you sieve. Okay, after you do the hulling, you pre-cook for 30 minutes on dry, 48 hours, then you roast for like 15 minutes, that's with mild roasting. We know when you want to roast it, we don't want it to be somehow it will burn, that to change the color of the meat you are going to produce. Because if you allow it to over burn, you know it will automatically change the color of those of the pig. Then what we are looking for something like golden color. For those of us that buy pig, SME and whatever, we know the color now. So that's our target. So that's the color we are targeting to have. So therefore you kind of roast it mildly. After then you mill, you sieve, then we have our the cowpea flour. Alright? So that if we have like 2 or 3 ingredients on ground already now, out of the many ingredients we are going to combine together. So the next is going to be how we process our rice and the sesame seed. We have the rice and the sesame seed because if you know, for those of us that grind the reedy or the Benin seed, you know it has enough oil inside. So if you grind it only for a long period of time, you see that the rest will not come out again. They started bringing oil out, so you cannot continue grinding them. So therefore, what we do is you have your rice, you weigh the rice, you clean it, you wash, and then you dry. Likewise, the sesame as well. What you do, you weigh the sesame seed, you weigh it, you clean it, you wash it, you dry it in the sun as well. We advise you roast slightly, or it's optional. If you like, you don't roast it. If you like, you can roast it. It's still the same thing. You understand? But when you roast it somehow, it produces that kind of aroma that you feel from when you roast the sesame seed, right? Okay. After that, you mix the ratio now, which is 2:1. If you remember, we said the rice is going to go 2% of what you are going to combine with any other one. 2%. Why this one is going to be 1%. So this ratio 2:1. That is, you take 2 mudu of rice and you are going to take sesame, 1 mudu of sesame seed. So both of them, they are dried enough now, and then you mix them together. You understand? And then there are some ways in which we still grind it. We don't mix it immediately as well. We are allowed the rice to be grinded well. You understand? You know that the rice is done. Then before you mix it with the sesame, maybe for the final grinding, then because it's very soft, it will just flush it down with the rice. So then when you mill it, you sieve them again. Like the way you do the same sieving, rice SMC flour is ready. So that if you have it at the back of your mind, you have two combinations already, remaining just one combination. If it is soya beans or cowpea you are going to mix with this one, you are good to go. That is already you have your cowpea or ground, and then
rice.
we will not go to groundnut. So if you have this one, if you are going to do the combination, it's just the ratio that is what we have to take note of. 2, 1, 1. The next is the soya beans. The soya beans is the same flow chart. You measure your soya beans, then you clean it, you wash it. You understand? In this washing place, and some people, some of us, we parboil it. When we parboil it, you see the seed good, just swell up, and then we just find it in the mortar. Then we'll be able to deshell the soy beans. While some people they roast it mildly, then they break them into two with engine or the normal grinding stone we are using in the house. So you break it. When you break it down, then you're able to kind of do winnowing, and then the shaft will go outside, and then you pick the main grain. So you boil it in water in a volume of 1:2 ratio of water to the volume of the soy beans you are going to pre-cook for 30 minutes. You strain off the water, pound in the mortar to lose the seed coat. You remember, you pound it to lose the seed coat. Then you wash in water to remove the seed coat, and then you dry in the sun. When you dry it now, then you mill it. Sometimes when you come to this, after you decoat it, you remove the coat. After pounding, you dry it. Some people will fry it a bit in mild fire so that there's a kind of aroma when you smell, when you fry it, there's a kind of aroma you hear from it. So some of us will like that kind of, so we still need to fry just a bit. Then when we just get that about, we will not allow it to burn, because when you allow it to burn, you will not enjoy it. So it will change the color, and then the color will discourage you from consuming. So then after you dry it or you fry it with mild dry, then you mill it. Then you have your flour, then you see it using a fine sieve. Fine sieve, the major thing we are saying is that always use a fine sieve to get the required texture of the powder you are grinding. Then the soybean flour is ready. So that is, we've gotten our soybeans, we've gotten our coffee, we've gotten our rice and sesame. So we'll talk of the groundnut now. Groundnut, now we're going to learn like two things here. We are going to learn how to do building from here, and we are going to learn how to produce a groundnut ourselves. We want to try to for personal consumption. So groundnut, we clean and remove the debris. It's usual thing. You want to get it. You want to get the best out of what we are going to do. So we don't expect you to mix the dirty groundnut and with the dirty the cover and the sharp with steel, and then you take it to any for money. It's not good. So you clean it and remove the debris, and then you roast it slightly at 200 degrees centigrade for about 5 minutes. Then you blanch, that is, remove the skin by rubbing between your hand here, between fingers. You know now when we buy groundnut that is not being removed, we do it and then we before we chop up. That's why we don't have 3, but we use our hand to do the winning. So that is the same thing we are going to do now. So you use your hand because you don't have any, so you use your hand to press them together. When you press them together, you see that the shaft, the cover, the outer cover, the shell will be removed. Then when you winnow them, so you see all those one place, you take them away, you have your groundnut. So after you do that, you look at the groundnut very well, because there are things salt that are not good in it, you salt them and remove them from it. Then you add boiled water for about, okay. Then you weigh. Remember, we said you always salt before you weigh. If you remember when we said, when we say roast, do you say you weigh? No, you roast and then you do the blanching, that is, you remove all the outer resin. Then you see the real groundnut, the good ones already. Then that is when you are going to weigh. Then when you weigh them now, say you grind it. After grinding now, you have your groundnut paste. So from the groundnut paste now you then weigh and then you add boiling water. You remember, the last class we were discussing how can we produce our own groundnut ourselves. So what you do now is that when you have the paste, you have full processing where you can produce this using a machine. You have a machine that helps us to do the turning and then extract the oil from it. But if you don't have that and then you want to do it yourself, what do you do now? You add water, hot water, boiling water. You add it. I can't tell you this is the quantity you add. As you are adding it gradually, if you see it turning into changing it because you keep on adding until it is enough, then you keep on stirring it continuously. You see that the thing has to change the color to somehow see the oil started separating itself from the main groundnut. Then you stir, you roll it. When you roll it, you press and then you shape it. After shaping it, then you are going to fry for like we create what we call fili. After that, now you grind it, you have the what? The groundnut flour. You are having groundnut flour. Now initially we have groundnut paste, but now we are having our groundnut flour. Okay, so the groundnut flour is ready. So we are getting our ingredients ready. Now, the table now is going to tell us the composition of different combinations we have. And then we said all the combination is based on what? 50-50 ratio. That is to say 1 mole to 1 mole. Exception of what? This last one, which is rice, sesame seed, and what? Soybeans. So that you have 2, 1, 1. So out of all of them now, if you look at the protein composition of all of them, which one is the highest? The protein?
Yes. SSB.
SSB.
That's soya.
SSB?
Yeah.
Which one is what? Sorghum soybeans blend. Sorghum soybeans blend is 17.91. That is to say, that is why you see most of the infants, what are they feeding to them is agam, right? What is the major source of the agam? Sorghum. That one, right? These are the major one they use it to produce agam here. But we were arguing the other time, someone was telling us that millet is more richer than yes, we believe. But when you look at what we are looking at, we are talking of the protein content. This is millet, right? The millet, and then look at the protein is not from it is 15%. Right? But in the case of this sorghum, we have about 17.91, approximately going to 18. Okay, we have difference of about 3. Okay, that is to say, if someone is angry, yes, I can just agree to flow with you, yes. That is what people believe to say, that is how it is. But in the recent, the combination of this is more better than that of millet.
It's true.
So, that is what we get. But, if I should advise someone, because this is rice, right? It has enough starch compared to any other combination here. But the sesame has other amino acid, like the lysine, methionine, and the histidine. They have it, but other ingredients lack. So therefore, if I'm going to recommend, I prefer you should go for this.
For the rice.
You understand? Because I know when you are going to do it yourself, some of us will add like crayfish, which provide what? The histidine, the lysine, the methionine, and a lot of amino acids which they are going to be added to it. So when you do this combination using the crayfish and you grind them together, I think the major thing you have the ratio and then you are good to go. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that is to say we are just having like 5 combinations here. Whichever one you prefer to go, the variation is not much. The highest is what is the source of, followed by this one,
17.
millet cowpea blend. But majorly, most of us we don't know that we can use this cowpea. You understand? We don't believe we can use cowpea. The only thing people know is just the soybeans. You understand? The soybean is what most of us will use. We don't use the cowpea. Millet and cowpea combination, we don't use it. We only use soybeans and the cowpea together. So if you look at the ratio now, we said the ratio is almost 50-50. That is to say, if you are not going to produce it in large quantity, you can use just 1 cup of what? Thin milk, cup of whichever one you are going to combine. 1. with the exception of when you are going to combine with rice. Okay, rice, and you are going to use with rice. Now we said you are taking 2 cups of rice, 1 cup of soy beans, and then 1 cup of what?
Sesame beans.
And then we know the combination of the sesame. If you are going to grind it now, because rice is more, is larger in terms of the quantity, you combine it with the sesame. Because what the sesame, when you are grinding, it has what? Oil. You cannot just grind it alone, that it will give you a powder. Right?
Yeah.
So then you need to combine with the rice so that it will reduce the texture of the powder you are going to get at the end of it. So I think, because most of us we are eager to go and catch up with the new light event that is going to happen at the center. I don't know, see this man there, very he don't even say that he just give me 30 minutes. I just round out everything under 30 minutes that he wants to go. I don't know if you boarded the flight because many of us want to go there. I think there are so many of us that we are here. We want to go and see what is going to happen to Ghana today. But I don't know if some Nigerians are ready to do the needful so that we can see. Because Ghana, they are ready to smile back home. I don't know if we are ready to smile back home. So, if there's any question, so that we can free ourselves to go. Any question? Because we are ready to go for the game, no any question. No question. Okay, if that is the case, I would like to bring most of all those that we can have our attention focus on one side. So we thank you all for the attendance. We always do our training Tuesdays and Saturdays. So we do sensitization first, followed by what? The architecture, right? And then we always said we tap this wonderful idea brought to us by a wonderful person. We pray that we will not regret getting this information. And as we are getting this information, we pray we will accept it. Our full mind open so that at least we can work with the information. So thank you very much and God bless you.
You're welcome.